Tonight we delve into a story of power, loyalty, and what happens when the two collide under the harshest of spotlights. It's a story that begins with the dark and sordid tale of Jeffrey Epstein, a man whose crimes sent shockwaves through the highest echelons of society. But it ends with an act that many never saw coming, an act that would redefine a presidency and leave a nation questioning political allegiance. This is not just about one man's downfall. It is about the seismic shifts that occurred in its wake. A stunning betrayal unfolded in plain view, leaving allies and adversaries alike in stunned silence. The consequences of that moment are still being felt today. We are talking, of course, about former President Donald Trump and his then press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Theirs was a relationship seemingly forged in the crucible of modern politics, a united front against a world of critics. But the Epstein scandal, a vortex of depravity and influence, would become the wedge that drove them apart. What happened between them is a case study in political survival. Tonight, we will unpack the events, piece by piece, and keep the focus on the facts with a clear, verifiable timeline of events. To grasp the magnitude, we must understand the key individuals at the center of this storm. First, Jeffrey Epstein, a name now synonymous with wealth, power, and horrific criminality. A New York financier with a mysterious fortune who cultivated connections in politics, business, academia, and royalty. He presented himself as a generous philanthropist, but beneath the veneer was a monstrous predator. He orchestrated a sophisticated sex trafficking ring, preying on underage girls for years, evading justice through influence. Then there is Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, a real estate mogul and reality television star whose presidency was unconventional and combative. Trump and Epstein moved in the same social circles, New York and Palm Beach, through the 1990s and early 2000s. Their past connection became a political liability once Epstein's crimes were public. Finally, Caroline Leavitt, a young, fiercely loyal, media-savvy political operative who rose rapidly. By 2024, she was White House press secretary in Trump's second term, known for a combative style and unwavering defense. These three, disgraced financier, embattled leader, loyal subordinate, became inextricably linked in a national drama that horrified and captivated the nation. Jeffrey Epstein's crimes did not emerge overnight. It was a slow, horrifying reveal over more than a decade. The first major exposure came in 2008, with a notoriously lenient Florida plea deal. It granted immunity from federal prosecution, widely condemned as a miscarriage of justice. He continued a life of luxury as the full extent remained a dark secret to all but victims and enablers. Journalists and prosecutors kept digging. The story simmered below the surface. In July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York arrested Epstein for sex trafficking of minors. The allegations were detailed and extensive, revealing a sophisticated enterprise over many years and locations, even a private island. On August 10, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his cell. The official ruling, suicide by hanging. Malfunctioning cameras and procedural failures fueled conspiracy theories and public outrage. His death meant many victims would never see a courtroom reckoning. But the story intensified. Thousands of pages were unsealed. Depositions, victim testimonies, and flight logs. Significant documents emerged in late 2024 and early 2025, offering a more concrete, though incomplete picture of his powerful associates. Political pressure on former President Trump reached a boiling point. The scandal was no longer a ghost. It was a clear and present crisis. Before the fallout, the Trump-Leavitt relationship was viewed as a model of political synergy. Leavitt was more than a press secretary. She was an extension of the Trump brand. After the 2020 campaign and a stint with Representative Elise Stefanik, she proved unwavering loyalty and skillful message discipline. Upon Trump's return to the White House, her appointment as press secretary felt inevitable. Young, energetic, perfectly in tune with the MAGA base, part of a new generation of conservative communicators. Visible daily, she defended policy with combative briefings, echoing rhetoric on fake news and media bias. Trump praised her as a loyal warrior willing to go to battle every day. Behind the scenes, she had access and input, shaping messaging on critical issues. In a tumultuous White House, Loyalty was paramount. Leavitt was a fixture. Through controversies and political storms, she never wavered publicly, which is why the subsequent rupture stunned observers across the spectrum. The unbreakable bond shattered, the ultimate loyalist cast out and disavowed, a betrayal that exposed the transactional nature of loyalty in the corridors of power. The breaking point arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in February 2025. New Epstein-related documents dominated the news cycle for weeks. A former Epstein employee's deposition mentioned Donald Trump by name. No allegations of illegal conduct, but enough to ignite a firestorm. The media frenzy intensified. The White House struggled to control the narrative. Caroline Leavitt faced a barrage of questions and delivered a vigorous defense.
She said, "The president has been crystal clear. He knew Mr. Epstein socially, as many people did, but he was never involved in, nor did he have any knowledge of, the heinous activities that were taking place."
She called contrary suggestions a politically motivated smear campaign. Insiders worried the defense boxed the president in too tightly. The next day, Trump called an impromptu Oval Office press conference, surprising senior staff. With cameras rolling, he distanced himself from Epstein, then pivoted.
He said, "I saw the briefing yesterday, and some things were said, very strong things. Caroline is a good person, very energetic, but she got a little ahead of herself. She's young. She speaks for herself in that regard. She was not authorized to make such a broad statement."
The immediate aftermath was political chaos. Sources say Leavitt was blindsided. Her defense mirrored the administration's aggressive strategy, until it didn't. Within hours, resignation rumors swirled, confirmed by day's end. On Capitol Hill, allies struggled to spin. Private GOP conversations betrayed deep concern. Cable networks looped the clip. Analysts called it a ruthless act of political survival. The narrative solidified. Loyalty valued only until it becomes a liability. Public reaction ranged from outrage to grim acceptance. Supporters argued it was necessary. Many expressed sympathy for Leavitt as an abandoned loyal soldier. His core base held, but a seed of doubt took root about the personal cost of unwavering loyalty. The repudiation of Leavitt corroded already fragile public trust. When a president declares his own spokesperson was not authorized, credibility shatters. If the public voice isn't speaking for him, then who is, and what can be trusted? It fed cynicism. Truth is malleable. Loyalty, disposable. Government looked like performance rather than service. The message to aspiring communicators: your loyalty may not be returned. Public humiliation of a subordinate chills risk-taking and honest counsel. It became a symbol of broader decay in political norms. Past disputes were handled with decorum. A public rebuke for short-term gain deepened the erosion of trust. The ripples extended beyond a single news cycle. Within the GOP, a rule became explicit. Loyalty is a one-way street. Alliances are conditional, terminable the moment they become inconvenient. Allies adopted a transactional approach, constantly calculating risk when defending him. Successors now operate under a shadow of doubt. Reporters are more skeptical, often asking if statements are truly authorized. Briefings have grown more adversarial, narrowing space for substance. The Leavitt betrayal became a shorthand critique of leadership style in later campaigns. Scholars cite it in discussions of charismatic, authoritarian-style leadership. Loyalty demanded, not returned. For a generation of operatives, it underscored the wisdom of building a brand beyond any single politician. The public betrayal of Caroline Leavitt is more than a footnote. It defines a presidency's hard edge. It began with Epstein's lingering shadow and culminated in a swift, shocking act of self-preservation. A loyal aide sacrificed to deflect a damaging story, a statement about power itself. We examined the facts: trust between leader and spokesperson, pressure from released documents, and a public severing of ties. The fallout was immediate, shaking the administration and sending a chilling message. In this world, loyalty is a currency, valuable only until spent. Transactional, not sentimental. Deeper public cynicism, eroded communications trust, and reshaped rules of engagement followed. The Leavitt betrayal stands as a cautionary tale and a stain on legacy, a symbol of shattered norms. When survival is on the line, what principles are sacrificed? Here, the answer was loyalty itself, a trust broken in full view of the world.